Phil Wright says, do you think Belfield would attack Sharif as he killed kids and they both are Muslims? Well, Belfield done the same. He killed Millie Dowler. She was 13-year-old. Little Sarah Sharif was 10-year-old. There's not a lot of difference. They're both as bad as each other. So I'd imagine you'd be looking at, well, not so much looking after them, but obviously because they're both in the brotherhood, they'll be having it with each other. Going to prayers Friday, prayers or whatever you call it together Friday, because that's what day it is inside of prison when they're all can meet up and go down to prayers. So why is Axel still walking around? He's not walking around. He's in Belmarsh prison under protection, the highest protection you can get inside of prison, off the screws. He's in that unit in Belmarsh prison, and he's got at least a handful of screws watching him. He'll be in the constant watch cell. Obviously, with him being so high profile, they need to keep him protected, not just for his protection, but for the screws' jobs and the governors. If you think about it, if anything happens to him on their watch, the governor will be fucking sacked. He'll lose his job. The screws that are on duty will lose the jobs. And obviously, they're in there for a reason, to work, to make money for the families. They're not going to jeopardize their livelihood to let someone get at him at the moment. It will happen further down the line, because it does happen in the high security prisons. The screws turn a blind eye to let these creatures get a bit of prison justice. But obviously, it's not going to happen straight away because obvious reasons. They don't want to lose the job, and it's too high profile. So Alex says, I think that's the main reason Belfield converted to Islam. Absolutely. Obviously, when you're in prison, whether it's on the VPs or the normals, the only big gangs in there really are the Muslims. So if you join the Muslims, if you convert to Islam, you're then one of them, and you are then protected, and you will not be alone. That's why a lot of them are doing it, so they're not alone, and they feel as though they've got that protection. And if one of them, or if someone decides to attack them, or if someone's plotting up to get them on the wing, then with there being a lot of them, someone's going to find out about it, and then they protect them. So Axel going to Broadmoor, best not be. No one knows yet. It's a possibility. Obviously, he's going to be or feel safer in them type of prisons. But look back all them years ago, Peter Sutcliffe, when lost his eye, when he got attacked, that was inside of Broadmoor. So there is people in them prisons as well. It's not a prison, it's a hospital. There is people in the hospitals as well who will get them when they get the chance. So Raoul Duke says, where's the bloody British gangs? So the reason as well, in the high security prisons, with the Muslims having so much of a stronghold, the white lads, not even the white lads, the black lads, the non-Muslims, I'll refer to them as, the non-Muslims don't want to get involved or have Rick with the Muslims, because any of the 5 high security prisons you land in, predominantly the gang or the biggest number gang or the biggest members is the Muslim gangs. So even if there was a handful of white lads or non-Muslims that stuck together, which does happen, then the screws disperse them. They get moved on to different prisons. The non-Muslims who have had fights with the Muslims, or then the minority again, they're going to land in a wing with 40, 50, 60 Muslims, and they're by themselves. And this is why no one wants to get involved in any of that type of trouble or beef inside the high security prisons. Because, like I've just mentioned, in fact, I'll tell you a little story. When I was in Frankland prison, the screws done this on purpose. When I was in there was a lot of racial divide. There was a lot of animosity going on between the Muslims and the non-Muslims. There was a couple of little mini riots whilst I was in there. And there was a lad from down Middlesbrough way who was game as a badger. And he had a bit of trouble with the Muslim lads. Yeah, they all got separated. Some of them got put down the block. He came back onto the wing, but then he had a bit of trouble with the screws and he battered a couple of the screws. The screws put him down the block, and the very next day they shipped him down to Long Lawton prison, knowing fine well they were going to put him on the wing full of Muslim prisoners, and his name was on the hit list to be attacked by the Muslims. So the screws purposely sent him down to Long Lawton, knowing that the Muslims would get a hold of him and do him in. And the reason behind that was because he'd battered the screws. The screws, this is how they work. To get a little bit of payback, they thought, right, we're going to send you right down there into the pit full of Muslims where he will be attacked on sight. And that's exactly what happened. He went inside of his pad. 4 Muslim prisoners followed him in, pool balls and sock, bang, over the top of his head, knocked him unconscious on the floor. He woke up in hospital covered in stab wounds. And that's what the screws done to get their payback. Right, I'll just go back on to some of these comments, people. What's this one? Oh, it's screws maybe, but nobody's given cons a ceramic mug, mate. They used to, in prison, they had ceramic plates, mugs, coffee jars, chili bottles. I've done a video on this. That's what, I forget what he was. There was a lad inside of Frankland prison, stabbed a screw up with a hot chili bottle. So you did have all of this inside of prison. They were trying to get rid of it all, but they had coffee, they had mugs, plates, you name it. Ross, thank you very much, pal. Says, get yourself a wee protein bar, Ricky. You know you are hungry. Top man, cheers, pal. Thank you very much, mate. Well appreciated. So Mr. R is saying, Allahu Akbar. Fleeps, the editor, says, why are they allowed mug plates? I mean, do you mean mugs and plates? Like you say, inside of prison, they try to get rid of a lot of this stuff, but you could get ceramic plates, ceramic mugs, and like I've just said, coffee jars. I've seen a lad get stabbed in the neck with a coffee jar full of chili powder. And a lot of people inside the prison used to walk around with these, if anyone's had Encona hot chili sauce, it's a long, thin bottle with a thin neck on. You used to smash the top of the lid off. So you've got a jagged bottle. The bottles are solid, fit in your fist. You used to use that for ramming into people's necks inside a prison. And if you get caught carrying a chili bottle around with you, you can't get done for it because they're on the canteen. So there's ways and means inside a prison to carry to get weapons. But look at what's happening at the moment. The high security prisons. They're on about Long Lawton prison and they were on about HMP Manchester. They're petrified now because of the drones, and the drones are flying in weapons. Inside of Category C prisons, you wouldn't believe some of the tools they've got inside of there. Up in Northumberland when I was there was lads who actually had big carving knives, what they'd getting thrown over the fences. Imagine getting set loose inside of a prison with a big old carving knife that had been chucked over the fence. So Alex here's a guy from my town went to Bar L thinking he was hard. He got the coffee jar treatment. They missed his neck and got his jaw. So, like you see, that coffee jar, as you can imagine, big coffee jar. They used to smash the top of it first, so the top of the jar was jagged. Ram it in someone's neck, twist it whilst it was in your neck. You can imagine the mess that makes. Right. So Cheap North says, what's the maddest thing you ever seen in Frankland? So anyone who's new to the channel won't have heard this story, but obviously the ones who have been following me channel from the start of the last year or so will know this story. And the maddest thing I ever seen, I've seen this happen on a couple of occasions, but the first one was Darren Barrett. Now, Darren Barrett, 2 seconds, I'll see if I can get a picture up of him whilst you're on the stream. Bear with us 2 seconds. So Darren Barrett was the head of Al-Qaeda in the UK. And there's his picture there. 2 seconds while I just get it up. Darren Barrett, head of the Al-Qaeda in the UK, who was serving life with a minimum of 40 years. 2 seconds. I've got his picture here. Oh, shit. Pressing the wrong buttons here, and I didn't want the screen to go off. Darren Barrett was... Here's his picture here, people. So there he is there. Darren Barrett in Frankland prison in 2006, I believe it was, when I first landed there. I was in the kitchen with me pal, because you could cook your own food in there. Believe it or not, you used to be able to buy litre bottles of oil from the canteen. And as I was in the kitchen, there was a pan on the stove bubbling away with about 3 litres of oil in it. My mates, we both looked at each other, said, something's happening here. Some lad came in, picked the pan of hot oil up, went up behind Darren Barrett, tipped it over his head. His hair, his skin, and everything was just peeling off the back of his head. And that was the second day that I was in there. I witnessed that. I looked at it, thought, fucking hell, this is a hellhole. But that was the type of things that was happening in Frankland prison. And a couple of weeks after that, another lad from Newcastle, Malacrudis, if you type it in Google, you'll see it all. Another Muslim, forgetting his name, went up behind him, another terrorist, wanted to get off the wing. He felt vulnerable because there was no other terrorists left on the wing. Darren Barrett was obviously in hospital. So what was he called? Someone Khan. Anyways, he went up behind Malacrudis, tipped a pan of oil over his head. Mala hadn't done anything wrong. He had nothing to do with the other incident. This was also he could get off the wing. And he only got 4 years added on top of his sentence for that, which ran concurrent as well. So he wouldn't have even had to serve any more time on top. And all of that was so he could get off the wing. Old school Pete says, I knew a guy who got spooned out. He'd robbed a jeweler's by swallowing gems. Other junkies found out and dug them out with spoons, causing internal damage. Fucking hell. I chuckle there because inside of Frankland as well, another story. Most of these stories were in Frankland prison. This is where the maddest happened. So in Frankland prison, same as what Pete's just said there, but what happened with this guy, went on a visit, took a parcel for someone. As he's on the visit, he swallowed a load of stuff, subbies, H, all the hard stuff that they get inside. Swallowed all these on a visit. A couple of days later, it still hadn't come out. They were shouting at him, thinking that he'd actually stole the package because he hadn't shitted it out. So they went and got a couple of bottles of water, 2 litre bottles of water, pinned him on the bed, squirted the bottles up them to try and flush them out. They were in there with the spoons trying to dig the drugs out because there was none on the wing. They were that desperate for them. That was what they resorted to. The poor lad couldn't walk for fucking days. Looked like he'd been well and truly dug out. Right, people. I'll do another. See how many more comments is on here. Right. This is one that everyone's wanting to hear about. Everyone keeps asking questions on the videos that I've done previously. People are still commenting on it. And he says, Brian Turnbull says, Ricky, will Axel have a TV in Belmarsh? Now, he's in the segregation unit. Normally, if you get put in the seg, you do not get a TV unless you're put down there for protection and it's not your fault that you're down there. So the answer is yes, he will have a TV inside of prison. That creature will be sitting in the block with a TV, but it is a separate unit inside of Belmarsh prison where he is, and it'll just be like a normal pad. So he will be having his normal luxuries. He will be getting his normal canteen, and he will be getting everything as normal as if he was on a wing, because he's down there to keep him protected. And sometimes even the prisoner might say, I don't want to be down here, put us back up on the wing, or put us in normal, not that he would go to normal, but put us back with the other prisoners, and he's put on GOAD, good order and discipline, and they get kept down there, obviously against their will. But when they get kept down there like that, they do have the luxuries that the other prisoners on the normal location or on a normal landing or wing would get. So he will have a TV, and he will be getting his canteen, and he will be getting fed as normal. Evolution by Mate cornered off some Scousers, and he says he had just rides in a Kinder Egg, but he had multiple things. He shit it out, passed them it, and it was the wrong one. They knew he had more. So that's more or less what I was just on about before, what they've done to try and get it out. Obviously, prisoners, there's nothing on the wing, and they know somebody's got something inside of them. They're going to try their best to flush it out. Right, people, I'm going to leave that one there for now because I have got a couple of more things I need to get on with, and I have got another couple of videos I'm going to make and maybe upload tonight. But if you are just joining this stream now and you're wondering what's going on, put the banner on. This is what this video was all about, as it says in the title, Muslim gang protecting Irfan Sharif. And if you are just joining now, as soon as I finish this video, it will be uploaded. So you can go back and watch the live from the start if you want to. But as usual, people, hopefully you are enjoying that. Hit that like button. Share the video when it's uploaded. And I will catch you on another live some other time, because I know the subscribers and the viewers love having a little bit of interaction and asking questions. So I will try and get these up as much as I can, but I will try and designate a week or a day, during the week that I do these lives. So we do a bit of interaction, and obviously it's good to know what you want to watch. But again, in the comments, let us know which type of videos you want. But there will be plenty of bacon bashes on the channel, because that's what you are all loving. Take care, people. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe.